Welcome to Life It with DVD. Welcome back. Thanks for being here. Today I wanted to talk about, are your actions matching your behavior? And are you practicing what you preach? Um, this is a interesting topic because I think it's something that's very much overlooked, especially on a collective level. That When we look out at the world, we see a lot of talk about certain things happening, certain prioritizations, what's important, um, why it's important. Or maybe we don't see that angle at all, right? But the action is being taken one direction, and then there is a bit of hypocrisy when it comes to, um, you know, looking at it from a different angle. So ultimately, this comes down to, when you talk about something, not just yourself, but the people that you interact with, people in the external world, what you hear on the news, what you hear people talking about. I've talked a lot about whether things are true or not, but are the people that are talking about certain values and principles the same ones that are actually living them? Like, they are embodying them in their lives as much as they can, right? Because there's certainly levels to this. Uh, but ultimately, what this comes down to, is talk is cheap, right? Are you taking the action and following the actions of what other people are taking is what's going to tell you where they stand on things. Um, Maybe they're not taking action at all on things, or maybe it seems like they are taking action, but they really are not. So, like, how can you confirm this, right? Well, you have to look at things from multiple different points of view, because a lot of times people that see things one way, they're going to have one opinion, and then there's going to be other people that see things another way that have a vastly different opinion. And I don't mean that as just as people, but these are entities, right? These are global organizations that have a lot of vested interest in talking the talk for something, but then when you look at the actions, you look at the research for the things that they're doing, are they actually benefiting the people like they say they are? Or is it ultimately about social brownie points to get more funding or money? Uh, so when you look at this, and there's so many different angles to look at it, what this comes down to is trust. Can you trust the person, the entity, the thing to follow through on what they're saying? And when they say something, right? When these people that we want to trust, or we're thinking of trusting, say something, we need to remember it. We need to remember what they say, because if we think, oh yeah, that's a great idea, he's going to do it, right? They're going to follow through. They're going to do it. I mean, write these things down, and then when you come back to if you have a journal or something or other that keeps track of the things that are going on in your life, if you write these things down and you come back to it a year later or however long, you might be able to see a trend of, did things get done? Did this individual follow through on that thing they said they're going to do? Or did they not? And if they didn't follow through on it, why? Why didn't they follow through on these things? Was it because they're lazy? Was a excuse provided? Sometimes there is a legitimate excuse, right? Sometimes there's no time, right? But ultimately, saying that there's no time is really a matter of priorities. Um, Sometimes it's something different, right? There's actually something medically or physically or um, something or other. But ultimately, whether they're following through, determines their prioritization and whether you can place trust in them for getting that thing done, to see that they actually value that thing, value your time. Um, and ultimately, that is the hallmark of a person that you want to have in your corner, that you want to be supporting and be supportive of. Um, and in today's day and age, there's a lot of, we're kind of in a post-truth world where things are talked about as if they're getting done, but are they really getting done? Are there really is there really change happening for the better, or is it just rhetoric? Is it just people talking about these things happening and stories of these things happening, but then at the same time you see these stories, but then on the other hand, these issues are prevalent still. These things are still happening. When you consider all perspectives. Um, so I just wanted to put that out there because I think people realize this. I think you know this. Obviously, if you're here, you're listening to me. You're thinking at a higher level. You're thinking a little bit outside the box on these things. I try to be objective wherever I possibly can, which is pretty much everywhere. I see things very paradoxically. Ultimately, I feel like there's a lot of shoot the messenger because of the way I think. And it's not that I'm trying to favor one side or the other. I'm just trying to ask questions. I'm naturally skeptical about things. I am ultimately just trying to vet who I can trust, who is a good source of information, especially over time. Um, and just looking at people and what they talk about and what they value and they say, are they getting it done? Are they practicing what they preach? And when you find people that can really practice what they preach, they follow up on it, people hold them accountable, and they admit where they failed or they succeeded, um, that is the value of a person that you want in your life, that you want on your side. And we need to think more like this, not just on a personal level, but on a corporate level, a political level, a global level. Who should we be trusting? Who should we be trusting to manage our lives, right? Or should we try to take power back ourselves in a specific portion of our life because, well, somebody did not follow through or somebody did not provide, the appropriate action for the thing they promised you and you valued. And ultimately, this is about bonds being made, bonds being broken. This is a typical pattern to life. We don't always see things eye to eye with people over time. Priorities change. It's a very natural process. But ultimately, being able to be aware of these things, as I always say, being aware of these things brings us better decisions upon the topics that we value, that we find important, and are important to the ones that we love in our lives. Should we be trusting certain corporations with the food that they're making to make them, responsibly, and then, are how are we taking that, right? What we put in our bodies is very important. I talk about that all the time. Our attention, our health, our time, incredibly important. And what we focus on is going to be one of the most important things besides those other three things that's part of the attention. But what we focus on is going to be of the utmost importance for our health and being life fit, right? But that's what it's about here. It's about being the best version of ourselves in the time that we have here. And in doing that, we need to be looking at people's actions and if they are matching what they're saying. So, yeah, I guess this is a little bit shorter of a topic today, but if you like this, let me know. Please like or subscribe if you did. Thanks for being here. Let me know what you think. If there's certain people that you absolutely don't trust, which I definitely think is the case. What people, what entities, what organizations do you think you should trust versus what you shouldn't? How do you view these things? How do you place your trust in people? And how do you look at it? How do you make the assessment to trust a person or not? Be really interesting to hear. Once again, like or subscribe if you enjoyed this. And until next time, thanks for being here. See ya.